Davos 2026. This was the hour Trump lost the crowd and the allies. Mark Carney stole the room as the real leader. For one night, America's internal chaos and external rupture collapsed into the same global stage. How did Trump lose it all at once, merely 1 year into his second term? Never before in American politics, personal impulse replaced strategy, defying all rules. At home, reality is closing in. Abroad, no leverage left. January opened with shock after shock. But Davos was the breaking point. No matter how loudly Trump's surrogates spin it, Greenland became his Waterloo. He set up a so-called Board of Peace, crowned himself its permanent leader, and no one important showed up. Allies stepped back. Adversaries watched in silence. Trump's chaos was marketed as strength. MAGA voices declared victory. Pundits rushed to pronounce, America is collapsing, the West is finished, Atlanticism is no more. But that diagnosis misses the scope and depth of the problem. This is not a crisis of American power. Not a failure of policy, ideology, or institutions and culture. It's a personal political collapse. The problem was not the Atlantic. It was the White House. And as always, Trump unraveled online. On the Davos night, he entered another chain-posting frenzy. Rage, insults, non-stop bursts. We've seen this pattern before. Impeachment, COVID, market panics, election defeat, January 6th. Every major setback produces the same response. But this time, what collapsed was not his domestic image. It was his, and under him America's international credibility. Greenland exposed the limits of intimidation. Davos dismissed him as a serious player. Republicans knew it long ago. Paul Ryan once warned, "Don't listen to what Trump says. Watch what he does." Obama replied, "Words matter. They matter because presidents are not influencers. They command unparalleled real power. Words trigger wars. Words end alliances." Trump replaced diplomacy with transaction theater. Tariffs became a substitute for strategy. But the numbers burned through the lie. 96% of tariff costs were paid by American importers and consumers. The trade deficit rose. He robs Americans to aid foreigners. His so-called national security grand strategy is little more than recycled Monroe Doctrine slogans, upgraded into seizing the hemisphere by force and threats. Greenland pushed back. It triggered collective resistance from everywhere. The Danes and Greenlanders flat out refused. European conservative allies revolted. Republicans issued their sternest rebukes yet. U.S. military leaders ruled out strategic feasibility. 8 allied countries deployed symbolically in the Arctic exercise, Nordic Resolve. Trump threatened tariffs. They responded. Markets reacted immediately. Stocks, bonds, the dollar all fell. Then came the Afghan insult. Trump dismissed allied sacrifices. The backlash was instant and ferocious. Denmark, by population, had one of the highest casualty rates in Afghanistan. The damage was irreversible. Jamie Dimon warned publicly, America's commercial credibility is being degraded. But the deeper loss was trust, strategic trust, moral trust. Allies began moving on, recalibrating. Without Trump, the world did not stop. Ukraine fought on, only harder. At Davos, Trump abruptly reversed course. He declared there would be no attack nor tariffs, but claimed a framework agreement and concept of a deal. Trump's frameworks or concepts have always meant one thing: nothing. The only leader who met with him was NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. And the supposed framework quickly collapsed under scrutiny. What truly broke Trump that night was not Europe. It was two figures he intensively despises and hates: Gavin Newsom and Mark Carney. Newsom represents an America that refuses to perform submission. California kept growing, innovating, resisting. Carney, at Davos, became the voice of Atlantic liberalism. He said plainly, the post-Cold War rules-based order is gone. Middle powers must align. New coalitions must be built on shared values. The room rose to its feet. Trump raged. He threatened tariffs again. That was all he had left. Now standing alone against the world. Trump's collapse did not come like Napoleon's battlefield defeat. But the ending was familiar. Abandoned. Ukraine is still here. Canada is still here. California is still here. America is still here. The Atlantic is still here. I'm Feng Ming. Thanks for watching.